You will receive so many answers to like every pain and issue you have that you will feel as if you went through therapy during one night. And in fact, it's more powerful.
Welcome to Psycho-Spiritual Journey, where we're exploring topics that harmonize psychology and spirituality, and where we develop professionally and spiritually.
Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Elmira and I'm a psychologist with spiritual vibes. But also I'm a digital nomad, so I'm traveling through different countries, living in various countries. And on my channel, I'm just describing what I'm up to because I know some of you guys are really interested in what I'm doing. So in this video, I decided to tell you about my experience with Ayahuasca because I am currently in Mexico where these things happen. Actually, in fact, there are a lot of ceremonies, and I mean shamanic ceremonies that take place here pretty much on daily basis. Whether it's a ayahuasca brew, whether it's a bufo DMT, which is a smoky substance which they derive from a particular type of frog, whether it's some other substance which is drinkable or smokable, which kind of causes hallucinations, but also it is used for spiritual purposes. Mainly, I would say 99.9%. Anywhere I went to, it was done only for spiritual purposes. So let me tell you about ayahuasca, because I could tell you about other ceremonies, but then it's gonna be like too much in one video. So in this video, we'll talk about what is ayahuasca, who actually consumes it, how it's done, how many hours it's going on for, what it looks like when you participate in ceremony. Can you use it for yourself, for your psychic abilities, mediumistic abilities, or anything like that? What it's used for, and what's the benefit of doing it on multiple occasions, not just one, but like several? All this I'm gonna discuss in this video, so please stay with me till the end, because in the end, I will tell you more specific about whether you are suitable for ayahuasca today or not. So the fact is, ayahuasca is a brew, just like tea, which has some peculiar taste, I would say, which is based on a recipe, which is brewed by shamans, which is done for, again, spiritual purposes. So this brew has, in fact, many recipes. In fact, every tribe, whether it's a Mexico or Peru or Argentina or some other country nearby where it is legal and it is allowed, including Brazil as well, the recipe would vary. In fact, what we get in Mexico, it could be Peruvian ayahuasca, or it could be Colombian. So these are the main two types that come here. And in fact, the number one is Peruvian. Colombian ayahuasca is considered to be even stronger. In fact, to my experience, it was like 3 times stronger than Peruvian. But it's not about what do you need, the strongest version or not. It's about what will fulfill your wishes. Well, it's not your wishes, it's an intent that you are going with. Let me tell you that certain people are not suitable for ayahuasca straight away. These are people who have mental health disorders, especially anything to do with schizophrenia, hallucinations that are a result of medical conditions or mental health conditions, paranoia, bipolar disorder, and so on. Secondly, before you go into ceremony, if you are on antidepressants, they need to be stopped a week, a couple of weeks in advance, and ideally actually a month in advance. You really need to come off of them, but at least a week before ayahuasca, because ayahuasca is affecting your brain, the way it regulates, the way it functions. It stimulates certain areas that normally are not stimulated, so it would interact with any medication that is aimed at regulating your brain functioning, and that's not good. I can tell you straight away. Researchers found that certain substances like ayahuasca, which has DMT, by the way, and DMT is a substance that we release when we die. So it is a natural substance, and many plants have an amount of DMT in them. In fact, there are many hundreds of plants that contain DMT. It's just most of them have very small amounts of DMT, and some of them are very strong. And these are used for these kind of ceremonies, such as ayahuasca or changa, which is a smoky substance, which is plants, which also is rich in DMT. So researchers found that ayahuasca can treat depression. It can treat post-traumatic stress disorder. It can treat anxiety. It can elevate serotonin in the brain. So in fact, it actually can make you happier. How cool is that? And why it's illegal in certain countries, such as US and UK, it's an illegal thing. And so ayahuasca is not a drug, it's a medicinal plant. As I said earlier, it's based on recipe. So there are certain components there and not just one plant. When it is brewed by a shaman, it's usually done with certain songs that are spiritual in nature to elevate the vibrations of the brew itself. So who goes to ayahuasca and why? By now, I've talked to many people who goes to the ceremony, who's preparing for the ceremony, who wants to do the ceremony, and those who've done the ceremony. Certain people did it just once and that was enough for them. And some people are doing it on multiple occasions and they're continuing. And I mean, some people doing it 5 to 7 times and other people doing it 50 times. Why on earth would somebody goes there for the 50th time, right? Well, I can tell you that every ayahuasca experience is something different. You never have the same experience from it, never. And in fact, it actually takes you to a different level every time you go there. Primarily, and in the first ceremonies, people go there for healing. And ayahuasca, it is believed that there is a spirit of the plant which can appear in your visions as a grandmother or an older lady who is ayahuasca or the spirit of ayahuasca itself. Some people see her in their visions, and this is considered to be a very good sign that the spirit of ayahuasca is embracing you, that it's taking you to the journey that you need to take. In fact, the worst thing I saw when people disregard the whole ceremony as something as entertainment or something to do whilst you are in Mexico or Peru or in Brazil. It is believed that the spirit of ayahuasca will not tolerate any disrespect. And if you're going there with this attitude where the let's see, show me what you've got kind of thing, then it can take you to the dark side of your soul. Or it might not show you anything at all. And then you'll be disappointed in the morning, because the ceremony goes throughout the night, that you haven't seen anything. And that would be kind of your fault. Partly this could be because you were too afraid. Some people would ask me, what do I do? I'm kind of afraid, I'm anxious before going to that ceremony. I'm preparing for it, but I'm really anxious. Or I'm scared to go there. I've heard it all. And I say to them, if you feel that there is a call from ayahuasca that you need to do it, that you will benefit from it, but you're anxious, well, first of all, anxiety is normal before you go into any ceremony. It's our natural response. We don't know what we're going to have, what we're going to experience. Our brain is trying to protect us, and that's why we experience an anxiety. So that's normal. And also in the end, I can tell you how to combat that anxiety when you're actually going there, if you decide to go there. But like I said, make sure it's legal, or you're going somewhere where it's legal, because I know you can find in certain countries where it's a shady side of it, and you can find them on the internet, even in the countries where it's illegal, the ceremony. So I would advise to go to places where it is legit. But also, by the way, please do your research where you're going to, because not every shaman is the same kind of type. And please go there with open mind about spirits. Certain shamans, they pray to spirits from everywhere. You don't know what you're gonna get. Certain shamans are doing it for money primarily, because tourists from US, from UK, they have money. So why wouldn't you use them, right? If you are that type of person who is interested mainly in money. And believe me, there are people who say they're shamans and they, unfortunately, they yeah, do I need to say anymore? So always see what other people say about that center where you're going, that whether it's a retreat center, whether it's an ayahuasca based community. See the reviews before you sign up for anything. So as I said, people go there for the first time for healing. Ayahuasca is aimed to be a big healer. In fact, they say you have something like 1,000 of hours of therapy in one night, or 100, I think 1,000. Anyway, you can have various insights and all your questions can be answered during that night. You will receive so many answers to like every pain and issue you have that you will feel as if you went through therapy during one night. And in fact, it's more powerful. What it can show you, for example, in one of my ceremonies, it showed me different stages of my life where I went through relationships with various people, including my own father, who I love dearly, by the way. But still, when I was a child, perhaps he was strict with me. When I was a teenager, I tried to please him in the way I could as a daughter. And then I went through various relationships where I tried to prove my worth, like a lot of us do. And I just wanted to be loved, right? So ayahuasca would show me different stages where I would observe them as a third-party person, like outside. I could see myself with different people going through different stories, different experiences. And at the same time, I could feel what that girl, and I mean me in relationships, felt at that time. And also, at the same time, I would be an observer who also can feel and can reflect on certain things that I'm observing right now. This is why they are comparing it with DMT that is released during our death. If you know that when we are dying, there is a theory that we are going through our life, right? And taking account of everything that happens to us during that lifetime. So here it's kind of like that. It can show you various aspects of your life where you would experience, where you would feel deeply the thing, the feelings, the emotions, the reason for why it was happening, the reason why you are hurt so much and why you can't let go, or why some person would treat you badly. You would get the answers why it was happening. And that would allow you to release it, finally release that thing, that situation, that person from your life, from your mind. Even when they're not present in your life, we all know that they can sit in our head, right? And it's very difficult to let it go. So ayahuasca can let you do that. And actually not just ayahuasca, psilocybin, and I mean magic, what is known as magic mushrooms, can do that too. But again, seek reputable people and ideally even therapists who doing psilocybin when it comes to that. When people go there more than once, then they heal other aspects of their life, of their bodily conditions, and also of their soul at different levels. There are certain things that you cannot cure in one night. There are certain things which are deep inside. There are certain things which you need to learn about, like being more compassionate towards other people. That would be one of them. So what happens in ayahuasca ceremony? Well, you go there during an evening. So you go there with other people. And I participated in ceremonies where there would be only 5, 6 people, which would be a private ceremony, and big ceremonies up to 50 people. And there are even bigger ceremonies, which is like 100 people. Both of them have their own upsides and downsides. Bigger ceremony means there are many things that are happening during that night. There is a shaman and his team, and some of them are musicians, which will be playing music or singing during that night. And that music is of spiritual nature, so it will raise your vibrations when you are experiencing different visions, which is super helpful. Because believe me, time to time, you can go down in your visions. And I mean, you might see something which will be hurtful, painful, not so nice, not so pleasant. And that music and that singing, which is called Icarus, the singing, it will elevate your visions to a higher level. So you will see that everything will be transforming and give you healing that you came for. On a smaller setting, and I mean private ceremonies or there are up to 10 people in a group, you can have more individualized approach from the team of shaman. So this is what I mean. Both of them have their own upsides and downsides. So what's happening is that the ceremony goes on all night for about 12 hours, because the whole ceremony itself, where you have visions and things like that, that can go on for hours, and I mean 8-9 hours easily. And you can catch up on sleep for about an hour or two if you will sleep at all. Saying that, I've seen people who would sleep throughout the whole ceremony. But this is not ideal, because we go there to work on our minds, on our traumas, on the intent that we came with, not to sleep. And sadly, some people just go to sleep. And if the shaman and his team, if they are really good, they will actually wake up the person and they will tell them, did you come here for a sleep or to work? So get up and work. And if you need a little bit more ayahuasca to drink, please go there and have some more. What ayahuasca does? Well, apart from causing hallucinations or visions, whatever you want to call it, I would call it visions rather than hallucinations, because again, they have certain substance, and I mean in a spiritual sense. The substance, the cause, the reason why they're appearing, they show a lot from your mind. This is why I wouldn't call it hallucinations, because I'm a psychologist in my background. And I know that hallucinations we call something that it's not there, that you perceive. And here it's kind of the same, but at the same time, it's not the same. So why did I go there for the first time? The first time, I guess, it was my curiosity. Because I try various things as a psychologist. I want to find what makes me happier, because then I can share with other people, with you guys, what actually works for our mind when we do feel more positive. What works? I'm even trying out ice bath right now, but I will report it in one of my future videos, because the experiment is in process right now. So I would say my first 2-3 times, it was definitely about just healing and letting go. So during that night, you can hear people crying because they're all going through certain traumas and healing process. Ayahuasca also causes vomiting and diarrhea. And that's one of the reasons why some people don't even want to go there. But to be honest, this is what we call purging. And purging, it's not just a physical substance. It is believed that we're purging our negative emotions, negative beliefs, limiting beliefs, and even certain entities, if you have anything attached to you, if you believe in that. And again, as I say, just keep your open mind, because anything is possible in this reality. So when you purge, you actually get rid of a lot of those stuck emotions and stuck negative substances, and you want to get rid of them. Purging does happen in different ways as well. For example, through breathing deeply, through yawning, through being tearful, because the tears just pouring down your face. And that's one way to purge, even though you're not really crying, but the tears will be just streaming your cheeks. Saying that, when you are on your own journey, I would say it doesn't bother you that much that other people are going through this process of purging, and occasionally you hear somebody is vomiting somewhere nearby. It doesn't concern you that much. You are so deep in your journey that you understand that the process is important for everybody. And in fact, you feel kind of elevated consciousness at that time. You feel compassion towards other people. In the morning, you all feel united because of the process that went on all night. And as a group, you do feel closer because you share that unique experience of healing that goes on various levels. So what's important to remember? Well, the one main thing is that you need to have intent when you're going to ayahuasca. And your intent can be as simple as, I need healing. I'm not sure what it is I need to heal, but please help me. And ayahuasca will show you what you need to heal or what you need to let go of. Another intent could be you want to experience what it's like to love and be loved. And interestingly, ayahuasca can show you that. You will experience that feeling of being loved by the spirit of medicine plant. It is considered to be medicine, by the way, because shamans for years, if not centuries, were using these medicinal plants to actually treat various health issues, including physical and mental ones. Another interesting fact is that shamans, when they do their own journey, they can go to jungle and have the ayahuasca experience or ceremonies for 9 or 19 days straight, one after another. So it's full-on visions. I would imagine that you don't even know what's real or what's not. In fact, it is considered that when you go through various ceremonies too much and that your mind cannot take it, or even the shamans, when they go night after night after night, they actually go through the experience which is similar to psychosis. And psychosis is when you're having so many visions and images that your brain cannot process them in time. And this is what can happen during ayahuasca ceremony. But saying that, I have to say that after one ceremony, nobody goes crazy. Nobody dies. And as I said, just make sure you are going to some reputable center and do your research before you go there. But I've seen over 100 people by now who went through ceremonies and nothing really happens, and I mean in a bad sense. Sometimes they need to catch up with what they saw, and this is what we call integration. You need to understand what you saw. In fact, I would encourage anybody to make notes in the morning. Take with you a notebook and write down all your visions and what you experienced. And that is concerned actually other experiences such as psilocybin. If you're doing at home magic mushrooms and you're doing it for spiritual purposes. For example, you want to meditate when you're doing it, you want to meet your spirit guide and things like that. This is when write down, make notes after that experience. Because like a dream, you might start forgetting certain aspects of what you saw, and they're so interesting, they're so valuable, so important for our growth, for our spiritual development, and for our personal development. So I've met people who did one session of ayahuasca, and that was kind of enough for them. And I also met people who gave up various substance abuse after that ceremony. Alcohol would be number one. Many people report that they cannot even look at alcohol in the same way anymore. Either ayahuasca showed them what it is, its essence and its visions. You experience it to the fullest. You actually can feel, deeply feel what is alcohol, for example, how it destroys us and how it negatively affects our soul and our life path. So after that, that's enough for anybody to stop drinking, stop consuming alcohol. And other people gave up other heavier drugs, for example, because again, nothing can be compared to a spiritual journey with psychedelics. Okay, so what do you get after 10 ceremonies? Or whatever that is, 25 ceremonies. Well, the thing is, after that, after first few ceremonies, you start your spiritual journey in a much more profound level. This is where the visions will be something that you need to know, that you need to work on as a soul in this body. This is where it shows you the nature of this reality, where you live and what it's made of. Even perhaps that this reality is simulated at large and things like that. Certain people might encounter certain spirits or entities, but this is more rare, so don't be alarmed. Normally, you wouldn't see anybody really. You will just be in your own journey, processing your own stuff, unless you're gonna go deeper. So this is just the reason why people continue going to these journeys. Not for the healing anymore. At some point, the healing it never ends, but it subsides. And at some point, you get what I call magic begins. It's like somebody invites you to the school of magic and showing you different things. Well, I know, guys, I kind of almost advertised it. the beautiful side of ayahuasca ceremonies, because they really are. However, saying that, I will tell you if you're suitable or not. If you have fear of ayahuasca, of any drug or any medicinal plant that can cause hallucinations, that you feel that you won't be able to cope, then I would say, hang on, don't do it just yet. Take your time and see in the future, see it next year if you'll change your mind. But by now, you're not ready. Secondly, if you don't have any intent, if you're quite happy with your life, you don't think that you need to work on, maybe it's not for you. Thirdly, if you don't feel the call of ayahuasca, then you probably wouldn't be here watching it till the end. But if somebody doesn't feel the call of ayahuasca, they don't go there. And we have a rule: you cannot persuade anybody to go there. You cannot encourage anybody go there. You cannot call somebody saying, oh, come with me because you're my friend and we can do it together. This is like against the rules, because this goes with respect for the spirit of ayahuasca, for the spiritual journey. When the soul is ready, you will feel the call to explore that nature of reality, that other aspect. That in fact, if you do go there, it will enrich your life. Saying that, you might see on internet various stories where people say, oh, after ayahuasca, I didn't feel so great and I feel a bit paranoid. Well, I would say either they weren't ready, or they were doing too many substances, or they didn't integrate what happened before at a previous ceremony, whatever that was. They were not ready. So if somebody is in that situation that you know of, I would highly encourage to find a specialist who is working with integration therapy from psychedelics, because they will help to put everything in order. Some people go to shamans, but I can tell you that you really need to know a really good shaman who can help you to understand what you went through if you are in that state after the ceremony. But as I said, most people I see, they're absolutely fine. In fact, they're joyful, they're happy that they went through it, that they let go of so much burden that is hanging in us. And quite often, we're not even aware how much we have deep inside of us that we couldn't let go, couldn't forgive. We think we forgive everyone, or so we would like to think. But at times, those ceremonies, they show you people in your visions that you didn't forgive and that you need to work on. Okay, and finally, I'll tell you what you need to do if you are going, if you're preparing for the ceremony and if you are anxious. Remember this: before the ceremony, you need to prepare for it. You need to have a good diet, and that they will tell you, the group that you're going with, they will tell you what you need to give up for a few days, at least 3 days before ceremony. You cannot consume meat, fish, animal products, alcohol, drugs, and even weed. Ideally, that would be a week before that, and some people take even 2 weeks before the ceremony, that they go strict on diet. That's one thing. Secondly, you need to abstain from sexual relations, including with yourself. And that means also no porn. And I can tell you that it will backfire if you disregard these rules, because the visions might have certain things that you really don't want to see when you are at the spiritual ceremony. When you are at the ceremony, also meditate. Actually, a few days before that, just meditate every day. Try to calm your mind. That's what you need. You need calm mind. When you go to the ceremony, in the morning, you're not gonna have to eat that much, just some light food. But again, they will tell you. The group that you're preparing with will have certain rules. Some people will wear white, everything white for the ceremony because that's traditional. Other people won't. So again, it depends on where you are and depending on the organizer. Not always all people wear white. And the final important rule is when you are in the ceremony, And if you get a little bit overwhelmed with what you see, just remember to focus on breathing, because breathing will center you. Breathing will make your mind calmer, and that's what you need. In fact, you can do this exercise, which I did the last time, and it really helped me to just focus on what I need to see and what I need to know without getting overwhelmed with so many visions as it can happen. Breathing, say to yourself, calm. Breathe out, you say mind. So basically you breathe in, breathe out, and you say calm mind. You can do it in your own head. You don't have to say it out loud. But what I realized, because I'm also a professional hypnotherapist and I know how our subconscious works, when we say to ourselves again and again and again certain things, eventually the brain responds. And this is what happens here. And another thing you can focus on a certain word which has positive meaning, such as love, appreciation, beauty, joy, tranquility. And you can repeat this word over and over, and your mind will respond. It will actually focus on that positive vibration of that word, and that will help you also to calm down and focus on something more positive. So I hope this was helpful and interesting. And if you found it helpful and if somebody is preparing for ayahuasca ceremony and is interested, please share this video. I sincerely hope that it will help you, if you are going there, to prepare for it as best as you can and have a beautiful experience of spiritual and personal development. Namaste.